All right, so we've got the score increasing as we collect our objects, but we want to make that visible to the player, right? So the player won't be able to see, all this inspector and so on. They'll just be able to see what's in the screen here. So how do we get that screen to show up or get the score to show up in the UI? What we need to do is add a UI component. So if you scroll down, we've only dealt with 3D objects. There's a bunch of other things here, but what we're looking at is the UI. What we'll do is just find some text. Pretty straightforward here. So I'm going to bring in the text. If this says here, import essentials, say yes to that. Might take a second, not too long. You don't have to import the examples and extras for the moment. That's okay. Now, what it's done a few things. It's created what's called a canvas. If I bring my mouse way back, you can see this huge thing is the canvas. And what I always like to think of it as like an overlay between the camera and the actual game itself. So you just sort of have to understand that this is sort of sitting in 2D space and it's just going to sort of sit in front of the camera. What we want to do is position that text in the right spot. Okay, now, right spot, you decide where the right spot is. I'm going to position it in the top left. Now, you can move it using pixels. Not a great idea if your screen size is going to get bigger or smaller. So if we think back to HTML and CSS, we realize that dealing with a big screen, dealing with a small screen, not everything will fit. Same idea. We want to sort of worry about the positioning of it. So what I tend to do is click on this. I go, and you can see there's the top left, and I go, what it suggests there, the Shift and the Alt, so Shift and Alt, and then just lock it into that top left. And so if we sort of zoom in, we can see it's in the top left. If we do go into camera, well, actually, I should have just clicked onto the game there. Okay, but you can see it there. It just says new text. Now it's a little bit against the side, so sometimes I bring it over 5 and then bring it down 5, just to give it a little bit of breathing space there. Now, what you can see is that their text says something here. It says new text. You can change this. You can change the text color. I won't worry about that. You can play around with it. But what we definitely do want to do is programmatically change it. Now, I'm going to give it a better name because I don't want to forget what it's called. So I'm going to call it score text. Okay. While we're at it, we'll create one more, which will be sort of our win text. And we'll put that in the center of the screen. So I'm just going to do it again since we've done one already. UI text. Okay, it's placed it here. Let's call this one win text. And we'll center it in the center. So we'll take over here and then just again Shift and Alt and then click in the middle. And it should be in the middle now. So again, we'll take a little look and it's fine. So again, they both say win or new text. We will deal with that in a moment. So in order to actually change these, we need to go into our code. We're going to do everything through the player because the player has the score. The player will update the text too. Not the best programming sort of style, but for our purposes at the beginning, it works out fine. So what I'm going to do is go back to here, and this is on my player movement. Now we had our score here. I'm going to just bring that down a little bit because I'm going to add 2 that kind of go along with this. So I'm going to make it public again. Now this is going to be a TMP. I always get this wrong. Text, I think. Is that right? Now if it doesn't show the right color, that means I've messed up. And so I just have to find what the proper color, or what the proper thing is. TMP text. Oh, but yes. So actually I am right. What I forgot to do is this little thing up here. So just like we did with libraries, using TM Pro. So we have to say that we're using Text Mesh Pro. At some point they updated the text, and this is the common one we use. Okay, sorry about that. So yes, so making sure I was right, but forgot the library. So TM Pro, TMP text, and one we'll call it the score text. And the other one, we will call, not score text, text2, we will call it public TMP text, and we'll call this the win text. Okay, So those ones are there. Now what we'll be able to do, so I'm going to save it. Actually, we'll modify it first, and then we'll see it that working. So I'm going to come over into here in the start. So at the start, we want to make sure that our score text, now this will seem a little bit odd, dot text. So we're taking the score text box, and we're going to set that to be score, colon, space, and you can change this up. And then we're going to add the score dot to string. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the idea is that we're going to put this string, just this text, so we'll say score, and then we're going to append or add on that 0, I guess concatenate's the right word, concatenate that 0 to the end, okay? And so at the beginning, we want it to, say score, 0, okay? The other thing that we'll do with the win text, so we won't get the component, we're going to set that to, win text dot text. So we're going to change the text component. We're just going to set that to an empty string. So there's absolutely no text showing because we haven't won. We don't want to say you won before we win. So we're going to do that. Okay, so let's take a look here. We'll save that up. So we added our text. Don't forget the TM Pro. Added our text boxes. Add a little bit of text there. We will go back and take a look at this in Unity. Once this is done, now I'm specifically going to create a problem, okay? Just so you can see the error, because I haven't shown you too many errors here. So I'm going to do this. Now, you can see that this is giving, it's still saying new text, and down here, this is a very common problem. There's a null reference exception. Null means missing, nothing. So you're trying to reference something, and it's nothing. And so that's why it's an exception, it's an error. So what I have to do, what I forgot to do, is that over here, you can see it doesn't know what the score text is, and it doesn't know what the win text is. So what do you think you got to do? Drag him in, or click our little button. That's our win text. Okay, so those ones there, my cat has joined me here. Those ones there are should make this work. Okay, now another thing I should show you, well, you've already seen it. If you're in play mode, it causes a problem. So anyways, let's make sure this works. I want to finish this video up. So now score says 0, and that other text has disappeared. Okay, now we haven't got the score updating yet. So we set the score once, we need to update the score. What I'm going to do is do something a little bit different, but I'm just going to add a new function. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is come down and make sure I'm still in that parentheses, and I'm going to make my own void, and I'm going to call it update score, and it's just going to be like this. And so this is a function, right? You can create your own functions, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump up here, and I'm just going to copy this. Okay, and so anytime I want to update the score, I can call my update score function. Now, I'm also, while I'm at it here, going to put in my win condition. And so I'm going to put in an if. And so every time we score, we got to see if we've won. Now, my game is pretty simple. I think I had 4 of them. So if my score is greater than or equal to 4, then what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to change the win text. So I'm going to come up here again, get this, copy it, and I'm going to update my win text. And obviously I want to say something now. So I want to say, you are awesome. Maybe just some numbers, 6, 7. Okay, so I put that in, you are awesome. And I'm going to save this up. And if I did this, it wouldn't work. Okay, I almost forgot something there. Now, it says 0 references here. It's a little hard to see, but that means it's not being used at all. So what I need to do is make sure I use it. And so after every time I score, I'm going to say update the score. And what I'm also going to do is, because I had all this stuff here, which is basically the same thing, instead of having it here, I'm just going to say update score. Okay, so now when we say update score, we jump down, run our function, put the score in, and then we check to see if we've won. Okay, let's see if this works. Hit save. Take a deep breath. Whoops, not the hub. There it is. Okay, so it's updating the script. And I can hit play. Hopefully everything disappears. Okay, oh, the new text has not disappeared. You know what okay. So I wasn't thinking carefully. Some of you might have seen that. I need to still have this win text. I mean, I could put that here. So actually, let me do this. Maybe not the best thing because we don't need to update this each time, but oh well. We'll just go with that. Every year I do a little bit different. Okay, so I saved that. I Control-S'd it. There's no asterisk there anymore. Go back. This is the thing, right? You make a mistake, you go back, you fix it. You try something else. That happens all the time. Okay, that looks better. Score is 0. Choo-choo. Score is 1. Score is 2. Let's see if I can win here. 3. Oh, it's very challenging. Oh, I guess I do have another one over here, don't I? I guess I could have gone up to 5. But anyways, I get to a score of 4. You are awesome. And if I wanted to format that a little bit better, I could. I could make sure it's centered or whatever. That's for something for you to improve. Now, obviously, the game doesn't end, right? The game's still playing. We didn't put an end thing. I can keep adding to my score. I could keep moving around. So you might want to think about how you could end the game. But really, what we've got here is a very simple game, but we've gone through a lot of fundamentals. Okay. Now I'm going to try one last little bit here just to make sure our game works well on any computer, and go back to our player. As I mentioned, this guy here, it's probably a good idea to multiply it by time.delta time. So I'm going to take that speed, time.delta time, and then multiply it as well. And I think that will help us out a little bit. So I'm going to go back and play it. Now what we might find is that we need to increase the speed of it. But that should help us out. Yeah, so it ends up being very, very slow. And so what I'll just do here is I'll go up to 500. And then now it's fine. Okay, we just need a little bit more speed or a bit more force on it. But that's mostly because, there we go, we're awesome, because that we've added that sort of time on it. So just making sure that that's, say, 500, then we should be pretty good. All right, so that is the game. Like I said, we've got a very good start. There's lots and lots of different things that you can do to improve the game. And so we'll talk about that in class. But as long as you've got this, foundation here, now you can sort of build your own game and hopefully have a reasonable understanding of how Unity works and what you need to do to get things started. All right, so good luck with building your game, and I hope you found this information useful.